How to remember works. On Wednesday, I go to school again. At the beginning of the lesson, one student say, I started to read more. I feel that it is good for me. I can see how my grammar is better, but I have a problem. When I read, I look up a new word in a dictionary. Then I continue reading. Sometimes when I see the same words again only 10 minutes later, I don't remember the words and I have to look it up again. Can you help me to remember the words better? Our teacher say that is an interesting question and she gives deep explanation. It is absolutely normal that you don't remember the word immediately. Usually you will have to look up the word 5 times before you remember it. There will be also words that you will have to look up 10 or 15 times. These words are usually verbs. When we learn a new word, the go through phrase, only when you achieve the last phrase, you remember the words very well. There are 5 of these phrases. Let's have a look at them. The first phase is the moment when you see the words for the first time and you don't know the word. You look it up in the dictionary. The second phase is a moment when you see the word that you have already looked up in the dictionary or heard or saw it in the past. You know that you saw this word before, but you still don't remember its meaning. You look up the words again. The third phase is the moment when you see the words again and you feel what it could mean, but you are not sure. For example, you know that words is some kind of object or some animal or verb. The fourth phase is the moment when you already know what the word means when you see it, but you are not able to recall the word when you want to say it. When this phrase happens, the word is in your tacit vocabulary. The fifth phase is the moment when you are able to use the words when you speak. Now you can see there are 5 phases all together. Do you understand now why it is not possible to remember a new word when you see it for the first time? You would have to jump across all the phases with the first encounter with the word. We will have to see or hear every word several times and let it go through all the phrase until you get to phrase number 5. You can be happy not only when you learn a new word perfectly, but also when you get from one phrase to the other. When it happens, you are closest to the final goal and it's you to the work without problem in every communication. All of this is interesting to me. I didn't know about this phase, but it is all logical. It also happened to me that I looked up a new word in the dictionary, but 2 minutes later I didn't know what the word was, and I had to look it up again. I feel stupid that I didn't remember the word. Now, I know that it is absolutely okay not to remember the word forever when I see it for the first time. I need several encounters with the word before I can use the word well. After school, I go to my football training. Our coach tells us that there will be a match on Saturday. The school team will play against another school team from Cambridge. Our coach tells me to come and play for school team. I'm very happy and I looking forward to Saturday match. When you want to remember a new word, you need to see or hear the word about 10 times. How to improve listening. The next day, I go to school again. One of the students has an important question. He wants to know how to improve his listening skills. He wants to know what the best approach is. Our teacher say, thank you for your question. Good listening skills are very important for communication. If you don't understand what people are saying, it will be difficult for you to speak with them. There are a lot of material on the internet for students of English. Some students can have a problem with finding a right listening materials for them. Let's have a look at what you should internet. Some students have problem with finding the listening material for them. Let's have a look at what you should listen to. There are two types of material which you can listen to. You can listen to some audio or you can watch a film. These are quite different material and different rules apply to them. When you listen to some audio, you should know 95 of words or more. If the audio has a lot of new words, read the text first if possible and make sure you know all the words. When you practice listening, you practice getting information for spoken language. You don't try to learn new words. Of course, sometimes you can learn new words, but it's not the main goal. When you listen, concentrate on getting information from spoken English. It's important to use materials at your level of English. For example, you can use books in simplified English with content and audio recording. I really recommend this book to you. They are fantastic because you can choose a book at your level of English. When you have such a book, read the book first and then listen to recording at home. When you travel, you can read two great books at www.robinsoncrusoelevel.com or www.thelittleprinceelevel.com. You can also visit www.newzealevel.com if you like listening to the new. All these material are in three levels of English. The second type of material for listening practice are film and videos on www.youtube.com. They are also great. You can start using them when you know 2,000 words in English or more. This is what you should do with film. Watch it for the first time with subtitles so you can know what the film is about. Then watch the film without subtitle. If you like the film very much, you can watch it more than once. When you watch the film many times, with every view, you will understand more. It's also good to watch videos on internet about interesting subjects. For example, if you like the nature, you can watch documentary about nature. You can also watch reality show are easier to understand than film or documentary because the structure of the show is usually the same. It's necessary to have at least 30 minutes a day of listening. The more listen, the faster you will understand more words. When listening, you should always look at what you already understand. When even if it is just 10% at the beginning, it is very easy to demotivate yourself by relying on the parts that you don't understand yet. Look at what you really know. Be happy for every new sentence you have understood. Listening is the easy way to learn. You don't have to do anything. You just listen. This information help you. Yes, say student. Thank you. The listening topic is very interesting for me. Now I know what to do to improve my listening. When you want to be good at English listening, listen for 30 minutes every day. What you need before you start. On Friday, we have an interesting conversation in our class. Our teacher had a question for us. She asked, what was your first reason to learn English? Do you remember the moment when you start to learn English? When did you start to be really interested in the English? I say that I remember the moment when I started to be interested in English. My teacher says, "Can you tell us what happened?" I say, "Yes." First, I have to say that English wasn't always my favorite subject. I started to learn English at high school. At the beginning, it was very difficult for me. I didn't understand the structure of the language. It was illogical to me. I tried to remember words. I tried to learn grammar, but it was very hard. When I finished high school, I was still only a beginner. I couldn't speak English, and I believed that I could never learn this language properly. I simply believed that English wasn't for me. When then something happened. I always quite like music, and when I was 20, I started to listen to the Beatles. I wanted to understand what they were singing, so I started to translate the song. Slowly, I understood more and more. Then I met two ladies from England on a train. We had a simple conversation, but it helped me very much. I started to believe that I couldn't learn English. From that moment on, I was working on my English almost every day, and I was getting better and better. Then I decided to go England and improve English here. My teacher thanks me for sharing my story. She also tell me, here is something very interesting about your story. You are still you. The first, you didn't have motivation to learn English. The second, you had a motivation. You wanted to understand songs. You can see that motivation is very important. When you have it, you can succeed. When you don't have it, it's very hard to be successful. Then our teacher asked everybody in the class about their motivation to learn English. The stories are very interesting. One girl's motivation is to be able to read historical books in original English. One student wants to be a professional tennis coach in England. He wants to speak perfect English before he starts his career as a coach. One woman wants to work for a big international company and she needs English for the job. I can see that everyone has some kind of motivation to use English in real life or get information from books. At the end of the lesson, a teacher asks us if we like English. I say, I didn't like English at my high school, but now I like it a lot. I can see how useful it is to know these languages. A teacher say, this is another important factor when you learn a new language. It's good when you like something which is connected to English. It can be people, music, culture, or history. If you like English, it's easy for you to learn it. If you want to be able to communicate in English, it's good to know 3,000 words or more. If you don't like English, it's more difficult to find time to practice enough to get to the level of 3,000 words. Now I like not only the Beatles, but I also my teacher and my boss who is also English. I like English humor. Now it's much easier for me to find time to practice English every day. On Saturday, I go to play football for my school team. We have some very good players on our team and we win 3-2. We are all very happy. We go to the pub after the match and celebrate our victory. When you want to learn English, you need to have motivation to use English every day. How to learn 3,000 words. During the next lesson, one of the students asked our teacher this question. You told us that it's good to know 3,000 words. Where can I find the 3,000 words are the most important for me to learn? My teacher replied, you can Google a list of the 3,000 most frequently words in English, but such a list will not help you much. When you start to learn words from this list, you will learn words outside the context. You will learn the words that are not connected with any story. You will not learn what the other words are connected with this work in fantasy. You will learn them in your short-term memory. This system works only for some words. These are basic words which describe things and people around us, for example, mother, father, apple, blue, orange, dog, cat, book, car, house, city, boy, girl, water, cinema, or paper. These are words that represent something that you can imagine easily. For example, when you learn the word dog, you know immediately what it is. You have a clear idea in your head what the word means. Yet, when you want to learn words such as appreciate or suppose, this system doesn't work well. This is a problem many students experience. They start their studying by using lists of words, each word at the beginning, and they believe that they can learn English in this way. They don't know that when they achieve the level up to 1,000 words, if you want to work in higher level, you have to learn them from whole sentence. If you understand the meaning of the word in the context of sentence, you will learn the word much better. You can learn word from lists, but there is usually a limit when you can go with this way of learning is 1,000 words. Also, way of learning is very slow. There are much better way which we are already spoken about, such as reading. For beginners, the best book reading is Robinson Crusoe in Simple English. You can find this book at www.robincrusoeinlevel.com. It's the best book I know for learning new words for beginners. There's also one interesting rule that applies here. Every word that's important for you will come back to your life again and again until you learn the new word. This is very similar to the way we learn our language when we are children. We don't study from lists of words. We just use the languages, and important words keep coming into our life again and again until one day we know that the words mean. We keep learning the new word this way all our life. For example, the verb Google is a new word in many languages. We learn this word by using the language. We didn't learn this word from any list of words. When you heard the word Google for the first time, you probably didn't know what the word meant. When you heard it again and again, as the word was important for you, and after some time you understood the word, you can forget about list of words. Learn new words by reading story and other interesting tests. When you use English a lot every day, you will learn new words more effectively than from list of words. Does it make sense? Yes, say the student. Thank you. After school, I go to my work. I really understand how to do my work very well. Things start to be automatic. I am happy that I understand my customer. It's not very difficult because the conversations are usually very similar. Our customer wants some coffee or sandwich, so some words are usually the same or very similar. My confidence go higher, and sometimes I start to have longer conversation with our customer. Everything is good, but then something happened. It's a little bit shocking for me. When you learn a new word, learn it a part of the whole sentence. How to improve your accent. On Tuesday, when I am at my work, something interesting happens. Two customers come to our cafe. They are on a husband and a wife. The man started to speak to me. I know that he speaks English, but I don't understand him. I don't understand what he wants. I think that she wants something we don't have, so I called my boss. She speak with a man. She sell him two coffee and two of our regular sandwich. I'm surprised. When they leave, I go to my boss and I tell her that I am sorry that I didn't understand the man. She said that it is okay. She say that this can happen when people speak with an accent that's new to us. She tell me that the pair was from Scotland. The next day I go to school and I tell this story to my teacher. I tell her that I felt really stupid, that I didn't understand our customer. I wasn't sure if my English was good enough for my job. I started to doubt myself. My boss was okay with it, but I still needed some help from a teacher. I want to know what I could do this situation. My teacher says, I understand you are used to English that people speak in London, but you aren't used to the Scottish accent. Your ear are used to English to Scottish accent. All you have to do is listen more to Scott English. You need to train your ear to this accent as well. What happened to you can happen to everybody. When you already speak English at some level, and you go to a country where people speak with a different accent, you shouldn't be surprised if you too don't understand. It's okay, and it usually takes 2 weeks to get used to this new accent. You shouldn't think that there is something wrong with you when you don't understand a new accent. With practice, you can train your ear to any accent. Then I asked, so what can I do to understand the caustic accent? I don't know. I don't live in Scotland. Our teacher says you can watch film with Scottish English or you can watch situation comedy from Scotland and soon you can understand. I tell her, thank you. After school, I go to my work again. At about 4 o'clock, two interesting customers come to our cafe. This time, they are not from Scotland. They are foreigners. They want to buy some coffee. They are two ladies and it is clear that their English is very basic. My boss is serving them. When she hears that they don't speak English very well, she does something very interesting. She changed her English. She used very simple sentences with only 3 or 4 words. I can see that the lady understands her. They buy 2 coffees, 2 sandwiches, and 2 cakes. They are happy and my boss is happy too. When the lady leaves, I tell my boss that it was very nice how she changed her English so that the two ladies would understand her. My boss said that sometimes she had to speak in a very simple English. It doesn't matter if the customers speak English well or not. They are our customer, and we have to do everything possible to make them feel comfortable. If they see that they can speak English here, they can come to our cafe every day. I think that our boss is a good businesswoman. She does everything possible to make our customer happy. Is it true that we have lots of customers? Our cafe is busy every day. When you want to understand people with a special accent, listen to audio with their accent for some time. What you can do at your level the next day at school. I tell my teacher about my experience with my boss and the two ladies who didn't speak English very well. Our teacher says, great, your boss must be a very clever young lady. Is it true that you can communicate with everybody? Even people who speak English very well can have a conversation with those who are just beginning on their journey. Today we will speak about different levels of English. and what you should be able to do at this level. Let's start with the lowest level of 1000 words. At this level, students can speak about some basic things from everyday life. The speaking is very limited, but still already is possible to communicate slowly for a short time with people who want to speak with you. Your sentences are short. They have usually four words. If the others also speak English in short sentences, you can have a basic conversation. When students move to the higher level, which is 2000 words, the conversations are easier and the sentences are longer. This is the level most of you in this class are at right now. You should be able to speak about many things from your life. You can speak about your family, hobbies, job, and traveling. Sometimes you may have a problem when you want to go into deeper conversation on certain topic. However, this level is usually sufficient enough for everyday use of English. If you want to be able to have a deeper conversation on many topics, it's good to know 3,000 words. Your words as a student of English who wants to be speak English well should be to learn 3,000 words. Of course, you can learn more than 3,000 words. The more words you know, the easier it will be for you to communicate in English. But 3,000 words is at the level that is usually enough for communicating in English about almost everything. I think that the two ladies at your cafe knew about 1,000 words. Your boss went to their level, and she has a basic conversation. She speaks with the man, and he sells him two coffee and two of regular sandwiches. I am surprised. When they leave, I go to my boss and I tell her that I'm sorry that I didn't understand the man. She said that this is okay with them. After my school, I go to my work. The two ladies come to our cafe again. They also bring two of their friends. It is my turn to serve them. I speak in them in a simple short sentences. They understand me. Did great. They tell me that they are tourists from Japan. They tell me that they like our cafe because people understand them here. When you want to be able to communicate in English, learn 3,000 words. Oh my god, I feel very motivation when I don't know how to describe this situation, but I feel like I very feel happy when I listening English. Like that's why, and I never feel this before. What to do when you are shy? On Thursday, I go to school again. One student had a very interesting question. She say, I'm very shy when I have to speak English. Can you help me to overcome my shyness? Our teacher say, it is true that when we use foreigner languages, it is natural that we feel uncertain or shy. We are doing something that we are not perfect at all. The possibility of making a mistake is great. I was also very shy when I learned foreign language. I remember well how I afraid to make a mistake. When I make a mistake, I feel stupid and sometimes I blush. Now it is different. I use languages for communication. I care only about communication. You know that I am learning Spanish today. Embarrassing situations can happen, but they can't stop me from using Spanish. It is true that sometimes I'm still very shy when I have to speak Spanish. I also sometimes blush, but I don't care much about it. It's natural human feeling, and it never lasts forever. I continue using Spanish because I know that only by using it can improve. I also try to see things they are as they are. I am a student and I am on the way to good Spanish. It is possible to skip several levels in one day. The beginner can become a perfect speaker in 1 hour. I also see what I mean to people around me. When I orally speak some Spanish, I have a value to people who speak Spanish who you should see the same. When you orally speak some English, you can have a conversation with other people in English. That's great. Look at you already know. You know 2000 words. You have already gone from 0 to 2000 words. Appreciate it. Some students have a feeling that to know English means to be able to speak like a native speaker, to have perfect pronunciation, perfect grammar, and just speak perfectly without any mistake. They think that if they are not doing that, then they don't know English. They are embarrassment. They are embarrassed because they are not perfect. These students are very hard on themselves. It is not necessary all of you are great because you only speak some English. Continue working on your English and your shyness can gradually go away. I like what your teachers tell us. I am also sometimes shy. I know that I should practice speaking a lot, but in some situations, I don't want to look stupid, and I don't speak as much as I should. I decided to be a bit more brave in this situation and use them to practice more. Then one student say, "Sometimes I want to say something, but I don't know the words quick I know." Then I stop. I don't know what to do. In this situation, I feel very stupid. Then the next time when I speak English, I don't want to speak because I don't want to be in this stupid situation again. Can you help me with this? Our teacher say, when you start to speak English, you have to prepare for one thing. There will be moments when you don't know a word which you want to say. In such a situation, you will need to learn how to describe the word. This ability is very important when learning a new languages. Since you are not a native English speaker, you will probably never know the same amount of words as you know in your native English. I can tell you that you can surprise almost every word. You only need to train this skill. You will have to train how to express idea within the vocabulary you have. For example, you don't know how to say the word key. You can describe it as a small thing for opening the door. You also describe a word in your native language without realizing it. If you don't know the word for something, you just describe it to the other person so that they understand what you say. You can do the same in English, but you need to train this ability. Thinking aloud is a very good technique to use when you want to be able to describe well. You thinking aloud every day, and your ability to describe things will improve. You can learn English only when you use English. It's okay to be shy, but it can't stop you from using English.